I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati.
Hello. Happy Wednesday, everyone. It is absolutely brutally cold outside right now. We're supposed to get snow. We're supposed to get snow earlier. Didn't happen. I still see no snow. I just see cold. And when it's this cold, I like to see some snow. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Shout out to everyone who is watching on YouTube, Rockfin, and Twitter. Welcome. I want to shout out some people in the chat. What's going on overnight? You have a couple emojis there. A heart, a halo, an upside down smile. So I don't know really what's going on there, but what's going on? Shout out to Ben, who's a Sabby member, says doobie doobie doo. Doobie doobie doo to you too, Ben. What's going on? Hannah G says, I hope Shama beats this. Me too. I'm going to talk about that tonight. What's going on, Sean? Happy hump day to you. Happy hump day to you too, Sean. It's almost Friday. It's almost here. Greetings, Lawrence. Always great to see you, says doobie doobie doo. What's going on? Eric Thomas, who's a Sabby member, says, hi there, lefty friends. Greetings. Shout out to Cam. He says, hey, everyone, finally got a notification. Yeah, absolutely, you guys. Like, I don't get notifications all the time either. Like, for people that I'm sub to, I don't get it all the time either. I don't know what's up with that. It's like a YouTube thing. It's really weird. What's going on, Laura Hansen? Have a great show. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you so much for tuning in, Laura. Greetings, Valerie says, happy hump day, chat friends. What's going on? Ashawn says, hello, Sabby. Hello to you too. CBC voter, I already know what you're going to say. Pan, well, know the rest. Panquake. When is it coming out, CBC voter? You have to tell us. All right. We are going to get into it tonight. Welcome to Sabby Sabs Podcast. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. If you are new, Sabby Sabs Podcast is a part of the Revolutionary Blackout Network. You can catch me there on Thursdays for the Roundtable and Fridays for the Sabby Show. You can catch me here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. I have something really special to tell you guys that is happening. This is happening this Saturday. I'll talk a little bit more about it on Friday. But there is another summit that is coming up, and I just don't want to forget to mention this. Got to go into the DMs. Yeah, so there's another summit that is coming up, and this is with a new network. Now, Lucy, who you guys know is Blue Moon Red Wine, she was on my channel a couple times before. She has actually joined a new network called In. And this was put together by Indie Left. A lot of you guys know him. You see him coming in the chat sometime. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the thumbnail for that. Let me share my screen. Doobie doobie doo. This Saturday, this is happening. So, Student Debt Boycott Marathon, December 11th, from 12 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is going to be a pretty big event. There's several panels similar to how it was with the General Strike Summit. I'm on one of the panels. I'll be on the panel of how student loan debt affects minorities. There's also a panel about how it affects women. You're going to hear from people who have student loan debt, people who are just tired of it and just want this canceled. I mean, this is one of the things that President Biden could do that would greatly help him right now in the poll numbers, in my opinion. It would help him a lot, especially with a lot of younger people. So that's happening this Saturday. I'll talk a little bit more about it on Friday evening. But let's go ahead and share my thumbnail. I want to show you what we're talking about tonight. Give me just a second. Why do you have to be so dramatic? Why do you have to be that way? I'm talking to the computer, not you guys. Okay. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Some of you are probably like, what? All right. Tonight we are talking about, let me get back to my thing here. I'm stuck. Oh no, I'm not stuck. Clicked on the wrong thing. We're talking about Shama Sawant recall update. So yesterday was the deadline for people to vote. I'm going to give you an update on that. There's also a video I have with that. I want to tell you about what's been going on. It is really a tough time right now, and I think that I sincerely hope that she will beat this recall. But I do want to give you an update on that. I'm also going to talk about House passes defense bill. Now, this is not good news. It's not surprising to me. I am not happy about it. I'm very livid. I don't think you're going to be happy about it either. And last but not least, Instagram is grilled. What is happening with Instagram? Why are they in trouble? And what are they going to do to change their platform? So we're going to get into that. And I'm going to end with actually a good news story tonight. But let's go ahead and get started with Shama Sawant, because this has been in the news for a while. I knew this day was coming up. I actually had one of her campaign managers on a couple weeks ago to talk about this recall. So this has been a big deal. Now, let me share my screen because I was not happy with the news that I heard. I wish I had better news for you guys about this, but right now I do not. Here we go. Effort to recall Seattle Council member Shama Sawant leads in first vote count. Now, for those who don't know, that means that right now she is not beating the recall, and that's unfortunate. So here we go. An effort to recall Seattle City Council member Shama Sawant led in Tuesday night's vote count, with about 53% supporting her removal from office. So that's more than half right now, as voters in her district took part in a historic election to decide whether the outspoken socialist politician should be ousted or retained. Additional votes will be counted in the coming days. So there's still more votes to count, but right now she's not beating the recall. The standalone election is the first ever recall a council member to reach a ballot in Seattle, and was held just over a month after a general election that saw the city's voters elect a new mayor, city attorney, and 2 at-large council members. I think we've done a good job, Bridger said. Bridger is one of the campaign managers for the Recall Sawant campaign. People were really tired of not being listened to by Sawant. I think they stepped up and are telling her she finally has to listen to us. So he's one of the people who is leading this, unfortunately. At Capitol Hill music venue adorned with red signs with pro-Sawant messages, the council member told supporters to wait and see as additional votes are tallied. In every one of our elections, there has been a dramatic swing after election night in our direction. That's coming from Shama. While we cannot be sure of the final result if past trends hold, it appears working people may have prevailed in this fight. So for her, it seems like her turnout for her comes in a little bit later. So let's hope that that holds true this time around as well. In every one of our elections, there has been wrong paragraph. She added, win or lose, we should not forget the ruling class keeps going after us because we've shown how to win for the working class. And this is 100% true, you guys. Not once, not twice, but repeatedly with unprecedented victories. Can't talk tonight. Tuesday's count represented about 41% of District 3, 77,579 registered voters. Leading up to the recall election, King County elections suggested the turnout could land at 50%, calling that a perhaps conservative estimate. It's not yet known where the turnout will actually end up. With 50% turnout, Sawant would need to win about 65% of the remaining votes to retain her council seat. Okay. I was sincerely hoping when I woke up this morning, it would be the other way around. And I think I said this last night on here that they said they had significant turnout. And I tried to warn you guys or just prepare you that just because they had significant turnout, that doesn't necessarily mean that turnout was in support of Shama. And I had to tell myself that before I told you guys that, because it's easy to hear that and assume, oh, all these people were coming out to keep her in, but you never know how these things can go. Sometimes significant turnout is not in your support, right? It's not in your favor. So Shama Sawant is one of those politicians that I feel I wish every politician that we have in DC could be like. At least on the left. They're not going to be like that on the right, but I wish they could be like that. Shama Sawant doesn't even take the full salary that she's supposed to as a council member. How many people are doing that? I've said this before multiple times on this show. I wish we did have a socialist party. We need more parties. We need multiple parties, more than just a two-party system. When people mention third party, that can be a number of different parties. But maybe we need like a working class party. Maybe we need like a socialist party. Maybe we need like something like socialist alternative, right? I'm not going to say DSA. DSA has changed in ways that I didn't think it would. National DSA has not been doing well recently. So I was one of those people that really liked DSA. I used to call myself a democratic socialist. I told you after Bernie, I moved further and further to the left. So something like socialist alternative is more appealing to me. So I wish we had that. I wish we had that kind of party. And we really needed like thousands of Shama Sawants like yesterday. We really did. I'm sincerely hoping that this turns around in her favor and she is not recalled, because the first thing that people are going to say, especially people on the right and moderate Democrats, see, I told you so. This is what happens when you go too far left. And people like CNN and MSNBC, they will run with that narrative and they will preach that narrative and they will convince people who are moderate, who may like some of these left policies and ideas. They will convince them, don't go that far to the left because look at what happened to Shama Sawant. And I sincerely hope that does not happen. I sincerely hope it doesn't. Shout out to Delthea Simmons, who's a Sabby member, says better late than never. Hello, everybody. Hi, Delthea. Greetings. Greetings. So I have a video that I want to show you about this as well. So let me go ahead and cue this up. And here we go. This is going to give you more of a visual so you can see the people who came out, the numbers, and you can hear from them as well. And
we're getting our first look at the votes in the efforts to recall Seattle City Councilwoman Shama Sawant. And right now, the King County Elections Office just dropped their initial numbers. These are the ballots that have been counted so far. 53% of the votes counted, calling for the recall of Shama Sawant. Just about 47% saying keep her in office. Now, there will be more votes counted tomorrow, but right now the recall is passing at this point. But historically, we know that progressives vote later. Shama Sawant's voters have voted later in the past. So this number will likely change tomorrow when we get more votes. But at this time, right now, the voters are saying Shama Sawant should be recalled. But again, we'll have more updates in the days to come. Now, this is the first time a group has ever tried to oust a Seattle City Council member.
Fox 13's Hannah Kim has the details on the turnout today and what's at stake.
In Capitol Hill today, signs supporting Shama Sawant on street corners.
I'm hoping that most people are coming out to vote.
For more than a year and a half, the people behind the recall effort went to court, gathered signatures, raised money to get to this point, a rare recall election.
This is a pretty contentious issue in District 3.
As of 9 a.m. Tuesday, more than 38% of ballots were returned by Seattle's District 3 voters. Considering November's election saw 30% return around the same time for District 3, it's clear people are passionate one way or another. In the November election, we had several key races, including the mayor's race.
All of those together were less galvanizing than Sawant alone. That's really striking in terms of like just getting people motivated to vote and to vote early.
UW political scientist Professor Mark Allen Smith says historically, recalls are not just hard to get on a ballot, but usually harder to win.
If she prevails, it almost empowers her because she has very clear convictions about what's right and wrong to do in politics. And she's willing to approach some lines, arguably go over some lines.
The people behind the recall are basing the move on 3 charges against Sawant. They say Sawant led a protest to Mayor Durkin's home, an address that was supposed to be protected. There is also the time she unlocked City Hall to hundreds of protesters in 2020, violating COVID restrictions. Lastly, Sawant paid fines for misusing city funds for her Tax Amazon initiative. But the question tonight, are those charges enough to recall an elected official?
I don't think it's like warranted to do a recall.
I'm glad people are coming out to say vote no, hopefully.
Others did not want to reveal how they voted because of how polarizing the battle has been so far.
The Nextdoor blog is full of vitriol, and I don't want to have anything to do with either side with that. It's just a lose-lose situation.
It's going to be a close race, we know, and we're excited to see what the votes are.
Hannah Kim, Fox 13 News.
So here's my take on this. I actually don't have a problem with those things that Shama Sawant did. I didn't know there was a such thing as a protected address. So she led a protest to someone's home. So what? That's the kind of that's what I want to see. I want to see a politician that's like that. I want to see a politician that takes it to the streets with the people, even after they've won, not just when they're trying to win, not just when they're running a campaign, because we see enough of that. We've seen that with the squad. So many of them, they're out in the streets protesting. And the moment they won, they forgot about the people. All of a sudden, they weren't out there in the streets anymore. You don't see AOC out there in the streets anymore. Now, yes, they tried that protest that they did at the Capitol building, but come on, I think we all know that was performative. I've talked about that before. But I mean out in the streets with the people, the same way Cori Bush did when she was protesting in Ferguson. I want to see a politician like that. I want to see a politician like Shama Sawant. So she unlocked City Hall and let people in. So what? So what? In my opinion, these are not things to recall someone over. Now, we saw Gavin Newsom had a recall. Let's compare what Gavin Newsom did to what Shama Sawant did. Gavin Newsom shut the whole friggin' state down. Remember this? He told everybody in California, oh, businesses got to close. You got to stay home. They were shut down. We had that happen in Massachusetts as well. But Gavin Newsom was out at restaurants with no mask, partying it up, living it up. But everybody else had to stay home on lockdown. I want to see a politician like Shama Sawant who is sitting there in City Hall with the people. I want to see a politician like Shama Sawant who is out there in the streets leading protests. I want that. And I don't really see that happening with the politicians that we have now. I don't see it. Shout out to Aspen Fallen for the super chat. Bad news if Shama goes. At least Sabs is serving us an extra gorgeous look tonight to make us feel better. Oh, thank you, Aspen Fallen. Thanks so much. Oh, that's sweet. That's just my take on it. It would be really disappointing if she's removed. Jenna says, Shama, please move to Pittsburgh and be our congresswoman. There you go. There you go. Come to Massachusetts, by the way. Come here, and I don't know, maybe challenge Elizabeth Warren. Oh. I wonder who will challenge her, by the way. I wonder who will challenge her. Eric Thomas says the mayor's address is classified. LOL. Isn't that ridiculous? Come on. I know where my mayor lives. I'm sure you do too. If you look it up, you can find them. It's supposed to be secret. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Creative Experiment said they mean she upset some rich white folk. Damn. Oh, creative experiments. It just overnight is asking what's the majority age group in this voting district. That is a good question. I'm not sure. I will have to look that up. But Seattle, like I have a friend that lives in Seattle. Actually, two of them live in Seattle. And they were telling me that it's pretty progressive. Seattle's pretty progressive, but you do still have establishment Democrats there. You do still have people on the right. And they've also told me that once you leave Seattle, the rest of Washington state is actually not that way. It's more often you'll see people on the right. What's going on? Delthea Simmons says Sawant's being recalled not just because of a protest or a vote. Sawant is being recalled because she fights. She's a woman of fire, and that scares the status quo. Fire is a catchy thing. Well said. They don't want someone in who is actually going to fight for the people. This is why they didn't want Bernie Sanders in, although I would argue now he's not really fighting for the people now like he was when he was running. But the rhetoric that Bernie was preaching to the masses, establishment Dems did not want that to get out to more and more people. They did not want those things to happen. They did not like that at all. So they smeared him. And I feel like right now, Shama Sawant is basically being smeared. Because what's going to happen is, let's say she does beat the recall, gets to keep her seat. Now, if she goes to run for something else later on in the future, mainstream media is always going to bring this back up. Well, they tried to recall her because she did these things. I mean, it's just ridiculous. We have politicians in office who have done way worse things, way worse. We have Joe Biden who's sitting in the White House right now. He's the president of the United States. Let's talk about some of the things that he's done. Maybe someone should recall him. He should have never been elected in the first damn place. Look at his history. Look at what he's done. The crime bills. Locking up all black people, all these black people. Targeting black people. Targeting black communities. He's accused of sexual assault. While he was running, people knew he was accused of sexual assault. Come on. How many of these campaign promises has he fulfilled? I just found out a couple days ago, now he's backing down on the things he said he was going to do for climate change. The emissions that he said he was going to do. Now, all of a sudden, that's not going to happen. No $15 minimum wage, which I said before should be higher than that. Said he was going to cancel student loan debt for students that went to HBCUs. Where's that? Didn't happen. Sean says, don't forget the bankruptcy bill that did just as much damage. Thank you so much for bringing that up, Sean. Absolutely. The reason right now why people can't file bankruptcy on student loans is because of Joe Biden. So let me get this straight, Joe. People can't file for bankruptcy for their student loans, but we're not going to cancel student loan debt either. So you're just screwed. You're just stuck. This is just how I look at it. So we have worse politicians in office. Don't let me bring up Bill Clinton. Just don't. Look at all the things these guys have done. Bill Clinton, Donald Trump. All these names that are coming out now in reference to Jeffrey Epstein. All these politicians who were involved. It's just a disgrace. It's such a disgrace. They don't really want someone in who's actually going to fight for people. I remember during like the Democratic primary debates, one of the things that Pete Buttigieg used to say over and over, see, they make you think that if you don't go all the way over to the left, that you're not progressive enough. No, there is no, they make you think. That's true. And he said it. It's like, and I'm like, people fell for that too. Like he's saying to you, if you don't have to go all the way over here. We can just stay right here. He was telling you he wanted things to stay right in the center. You had Democrats on that stage who claim to be for the people, but they weren't willing to back the policies that would help people. They were willing to back the policies that would help corporations. And people bought it. And the American people bought it. So for people who are on the left, people like Shama Sawant, she not only has to fight back against people who are conservative, she also has to fight back against people who are in the center. She has to fight back against liberals. So she has to fight against two different groups. It's asinine. It really is if you think about it. Now, if you're running through the Democratic Party, which is something that Bernie Sanders was doing, Bernie Sanders had to fight against the party he was running in. Does that make sense to anybody? This is why I look back on it sometimes and I'm like, man, I wish he would have ran as an independent. People said, no, that would be political suicide. Well, he ran as a Democrat twice. After they smeared him the first time in 2016. And then he ran as a Democrat again. And they smeared him again. This is why I tell you, you can't do it through the Democratic Party. If you really want to get these left policies, you can't do it through the Democratic Party. They're not going to let you. We've seen it. And even some of the people that get in Congress, that are progressive, that are left, somebody will step in and stop them. Now, do they have to listen to them? No, but they do. They do because of party pressure. So someone like Shama Sawant is very special because she's one of those people who didn't back down. She pushed back and she continued to fight even after she won. That's the kind of politician I want. That's the kind of politician I want to see. Someone who has the courage to do that. Thanks so much, Gina, for the super chat. I just visited Seattle for Comic-Con. Ooh, fun. I've always wanted to go. I've never been, always wanted to go. So many recall signs in rich neighborhoods. Why does it surprise me? Remember what I was telling you guys just the other night? Wealthy people, secret wealthy people, they protect their wealth. They protect property. This is what they do. This is what they'll do. Not saying that there are no wealthy people that will ever be leftists. There are wealthy people that are leftists, like Susan Sarandon, you guys know. But a lot of times, as far as they'll go, is liberal. Just being honest. Lawrence said Bezos puts his money on the scale. Yeah, they look out for their wealth. So anytime you come in and you say things like, we want to tax the wealthy more, oh no, they don't want that to happen. They're going to protect their wealth. Even if it means the American people are going to suffer and the American people are going to continue to struggle. And that is very unfortunate. But this is the country that we live in. It is a capitalist system. And this is what happens with capitalism. The people at the bottom are exploited and the people at the top are the ones who truly benefit. And most of us are not at the top. Now, I say that. And I say that because if you take the parties out of it and you focus on the class issue, maybe if most of us who are part of that 99.9% came together, said screw the parties, and fought on the class issue, maybe we will really get somewhere in this country. I would like to see that happen. I would like to see that happen. Aspen Fallen, you're 100% correct. Capitalists are going to protect their capital. That's what they do. They're not looking up for us. So I'm going to keep a close eye on this, you guys. I hope things improve. I'm going to check it again tomorrow. They said it could take a couple of days for all of the votes to come through. Hopefully they're right that the votes will come in her favor as time goes on. I hope so, because I really don't want to lose. Really don't want to lose her. Really don't want to lose her. I am going into my second story. I got to make sure I stop exactly at 8:15 tonight because I have a call that I have to jump on as well. It has been a busy day for me, if you can imagine. The House has done exactly what I predicted it would do. And here we go. House passes compromise defense bill, backing Pentagon budget boost. Now, I told you guys weeks ago that this was going to happen. It was not a surprise to me. Lawmakers approved the legislation. Look at this count, you guys. 363 to 70. 363, which saw 169 Democrats join 194 Republicans in a blowout vote. So when I tell you it's one corporate party, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You got 169 Democrats who joined the Republicans. When do you ever have 169 Republicans join the Democrats? I don't know. Somebody tell me. Let me know. Anybody? Somebody? Anybody? It's always the Democrats who are the ones like, let's compromise. Let's get together and work this out. The House passed a compromise $768 billion defense policy bill on Tuesday, endorsing a major increase to President Joe Biden's Pentagon budget after weeks of scrambling by top lawmakers to forge a deal on the legislation. The final National Defense Authorization Act now heads to the Senate, which could pass the measure as soon as this week. Pause. Stop, ladies and gentlemen. They can pass the measure this week. That's how quick they can work on this to get money to the Pentagon. But when we bring up issues such as universal health care, canceling student loan debt, raising the minimum wage, we are told by establishment Democrats, now is not the right time. We'll do that later. Maybe next year. We need to take our time. We need to be careful. We need to be cautious. They waste no time when it's time for them to give money to the military industrial complex. This is where their loyalty lies. This is who they've always protected, and they will continue to protect. Now, this is something Republicans and Democrats agree on here. Lawmakers approved the legislation 363 to 70, which saw 169 Democrats join, 194 Republicans in a blowout vote. The process of clinching a defense deal was a bumpy one. Leaders of House Armed Services Committee scrambled to finalize more than 2,000-page bill after efforts to pass legislation stalled last week in the Senate in a partisan stalemate over amendment votes. With the normal legislative process short-circuited, committee leaders negotiated a compromise bill that was only unveiled Tuesday afternoon. $768 billion does not sound like a compromise to me, especially after they removed items from the Build Back Better Act. Now, they want to tell us that we can't have paid parental leave, but they can give the Pentagon $768 billion. For what? Let's go into that. On the House floor ahead of a vote, lawmakers in both parties touted the legislation as a step forward. What did I tell you last night? In shifting the military towards a focus on China. I brought this up last night when I said that Joe Biden was trying to escalate things with China by saying that he was going to boycott the Olympics, the Beijing Olympics for 2022 in China. I told you this is just a step for him to escalate the issues with China so he can come up with another excuse to give the Pentagon and the military more money in order to provoke some type of war or conflict with China. I said this last night, and this article wasn't even released yet. I'm getting good at this, guys. I don't mean to brag, but I'm getting good at this. I can read the writing on the wall. And Russia, by helping the Pentagon shed aging weapons and invest in new technologies. Now, you can help them invest in new technologies, but we have public schools in this country that don't have computer labs, that have doors falling off, that don't have handicap access, that are not fit infrastructure-wise, that are falling apart, that have lead pipes. You can fix the technology for the Pentagon. But when you ask them to give money to public education, they say that's left up to the states. They don't want to give any money to it. This is how they are. This is absolutely ridiculous. The top Republican on the House Armed Services Committee, Representative Mike Rogers of Alabama, praised the bipartisan push to add $25 billion to the bill's price tag. They added an additional $25 billion. The nerve of them. The nerve of them. Providing authorities and resources our service members need to defend our nation and defeat our adversaries is the greatest responsibility we have here in Congress. Defend our nation and defeat our adversaries. Who the hell do we need to defend ourselves against right now? We are not at war. China has the right, come out for a second. China has the right to surpass us. China has the right to be the wealthiest nation if they want to. We don't always get to be number one. This country is spoiled. They have the right to do that. Thanks so much, Intermediate Fossil, for the $20 super chat. How are we going to pay for it all of a sudden? This is the question that needs to come. This is what needs to come out. These kind of questions need to come out. How? Thanks so much for the super sticker, Oz. Hey, Oz, what's going on? Thank you so much. How are we going to pay for it, guys? Where are those questions? Thanks for the super chat, Delthea Simmons. It is one thing to negotiate. It is another to compromise. The side that comes to compromise, that starts with compromise, loses every time. Thanks so much for the super chat, Delthea Simmons. How are we going to pay for it? How are we going to, where's the money going to? I'm sorry, but I have to ask this question. Where is Mitch McConnell? Where is Joe Manchin? Where is Kirsten Sinema? Where are those people who always come forth to the camera every time and say, well, no, Bernie, we're not going to approve this. No, we're not giving the people, we're not going to pass this bill. It's too expensive. We're not going to give the people those things. How are we going to pay for it? How are we going to pay for it? Why aren't they asking that question whenever we need to give money to the military? They have magically seemed to come up with $768 billion like that. Took them no time. Quick and easy. Quick and easy. Can't give people paid parental leave. Nope, can't have that. Can't give the Americans universal health care to everybody here. Can't do that. No. We have to keep people sick so we can keep the pharma industry in business. We don't have a healthcare system in this country. We have a death care system in this country. They don't want people to get better. Sorry, can't talk tonight. They don't want people to get better. Why do you think all these years I've seen them do cancer research? They've been doing cancer research for decades. You mean to tell me they still can't find a cure? F that. I'm trying to get better with the language, you guys. F that. They can find a cure. They don't want to. They'd rather come up with treatments that are expensive from big pharma so that those people continue to get paid. Those companies continue to get paid. Insurance companies continue to make money. They can't find a cure. They'd rather come up with treatments. They don't want to get rid of the disease. They want the disease to stay so people can die. Because even if you pay for the treatment, you can still die. They don't care. They don't care about us at all. I'll say the same thing with AIDS, although that's newer than cancer, but still, they ain't come up with no cure. Come on, give me a break, guys. We have some of the brightest minds in the world, some of the brightest scientists, some of the best physicians in the world. All these decades have gone by and they can't come up with a cure. Give me a break. Do you guys know how much it costs for someone to go through chemotherapy? I had a friend send me her husband's bills. She was taking pictures of it, sending me the bills. By the way, she's conservative. She would have voted for Bernie simply because of the Medicare for All. She was getting bills that were $1,600, and that was with insurance. With insurance. This is how they are ripping us off. They don't care if we die. Because even if you die, you already paid for the treatment. They still get rich. I wonder how much money Blue Cross Blue Shield has made over these years, over the decades. I wonder. I saw those medical bills. I used to work in healthcare. I told you guys this a while back. I used to work in healthcare. That was my first full-time job out of college. By the time I was able to find one, it was the first job that gave me benefits. And the benefits weren't much. I worked for a healthcare company and I still didn't really have good benefits. Isn't that something? But it happens all the time. I saw those bills. I saw the number of times these insurance companies would deny our claims when we had proof, we had evidence of what was wrong and what they were diagnosed with. And Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, Cigna, they all suck. They would come back and say, we are not going to pay for this. That is the patient's responsibility. After these people work for the telephone company all their lives and they're retired and they were told they would have a pension and they were told that they would cover them for the rest of their life. And then you have people sitting here living on a fixed income and they're retired. And these insurance companies, after they work their ass off for the telephone company for all these years, Bell South, that was a thing back then apparently. They work their ass off for these telephone companies all these years, put in all these hours, pay all these premiums to the health insurance company, and they retire. And they're on a fixed income. And now all of a sudden, the insurance company does not want to pay. Get out of here. And the United States government knows that. And Joe Biden knows that. And every single one of those politicians in the House and in the Senate know it as well. And they will sit there and they will lie to you. And they will tell you that the country cannot afford universal health care. But the country can afford to give the Pentagon $768 billion. Now, somebody make that make sense to me. I'm going to go to some of the comments in the chat. I get riled up about healthcare, you guys. I just seen so many things and too many stories. Thanks so much for the super chat, Roger Meadows. Washington State allows for direct and indirect ballot initiatives to pass Washington State law. If Shama loses, another path will be created to get progressive policy statewide. She has a base to help. Thanks so much for that comment, Roger. I didn't realize that. I'm still like hoping she does not lose though. That's what I'm hoping here. Eric Thomas says they are paid 100%. 100%. It is disgusting to see them give that amount of money to the Pentagon. It is absolutely disgusting. The Senate. Show you something else that's going on here. The Senate, the House. They don't really mean much to me right now. This came through as well. The Senate just voted down an amendment halting an arms sale to the genocidal Saudi regime over their war crimes in Yemen, despite 64% of Americans supporting it. 64% of Americans supporting it. They don't care what we want. They care about what they want. Profoundly evil. They are still going to continue to sell arms to Saudi. Now, I told you last night, President Joe Biden had the nerve to come after China and criticize China and say they're committing genocide. They have crimes against humanity. I told you we have crimes against humanity here. And yet, the same United States government is complicit in the genocide in Yemen because they are continuing to sell arms to Saudi. Who are we to sit up here and criticize another country for genocide? And the United States government has been complicit in genocide for years. Get out of here. Echo J said Bernie and Rand Paul were both on the Senate floor railing against that arms sale. Yep. So what does that tell you about our government, ladies and gentlemen? They don't care that people are being slaughtered in Yemen. They don't give a fuck. I told you I was going to be better with the language. They don't give a F. They don't care. So why should I believe that they care about people getting the genocide that's supposedly going on in China? Why should I believe that they care about that? They don't care about those people. They care about competition. They care about money. They want to be number one. They want to be the world's police. They have still done nothing to stop police killing unarmed Black people in this country. And they're going to pretend like they care about people in another country. Really? It's preposterous. Preposterous. Sabby, my ears. Am I yelling, Yipper? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. Mr. X says, yes, sometimes it is safe to say we don't have a voice. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not going to. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Now, I have a question. Why isn't the squad protesting, holding some kind of protest over this defense budget that just passed? Why aren't they outside of the Capitol right now, holding up these signs, gathering people, protesting that? Why aren't they outside of the Capitol holding a protest, protesting the United States continuing to give arms to Saudi to continue the genocide in Yemen? Why aren't they out there protesting that? I'll let you guys answer that one on your own. Leroy, who's a Sabby member, said they already used their protest lifeline for this year. Oh my God, Leroy. Oh, a lifeline. Here we go. Creative Experiment said it's hard to protest when you're handling Biden's balls. Oh, Creative Experiments. Creative Experiments. Little Rock is 100% right. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. I want to remind everybody that kids are still in cages. Where's those tears? Anybody? Remember when AOC was bawling at the border? Oh, this kid. Ah. No tears now. Jesus says AOC will wear an in the war dress. It just, no tears anymore. No tears. I have a hard stop at 8:15, so I'm moving on to our final story, which is about Instagram. Now, this came through the other day. So Instagram announced changes ahead of political grilling. Oh, what is going on over at Instagram? Instagram has announced new features it says will help teenagers and parents manage time spent on the app. Uh-oh, here we go. And by the way, this is Adam Mosseri. He's the CEO of Instagram. So apparently he's due in front of US politicians this week. So here we go. Parents will be able to see how much time their children spend on Instagram. This is interesting. And set time limits, while teens will get reminders to take a break. What? Okay. I don't know. If anyone in the chat has a teenager, can you let me know if this is like a thing? Like if this is a issue like for you or your kids? Let me know. This is the first I'm hearing of this. It comes a day before Instagram chief Adam Mosseri is due to appear before U.S. senators investigating online safety. Instagram has been under increasing pressure over teens' use of the platform in recent months. Its internal research suggests that teens blamed Instagram for increased anxiety. It was the first in a series of revelations in France Hodgins leaked documents from inside Facebook. The U.S. Senate committee is expected to quiz Mr. Masori on Instagram's internal information on child safety and its plans, as well as what the committee calls potential legislative solutions. This is interesting. The timing of the announcement by Instagram was interesting. There we go. Said social media consultant Matt Navarra. Instagram's boss will want to have something new and meaningful to show U.S. senators when they grill him. The new features will give worried parents more tools to help keep their children safe when using Instagram. But many will wonder why it has taken them so long to act. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and be honest with you guys. Instagram is not one of the social media apps that I use as much. I haven't posted on there in a while, to be honest with you. I don't find it as appealing as some of the others. I mean, it's mainly just pictures, and then sometimes I don't have a picture. And so I guess I just haven't been intrigued with Instagram the way that some people are, and that's just me. But going on, it says Mr. Masori announced the launch of the Take a Break feature, which he had tweeted about in November. It will be launched on Tuesday in the UK, Ireland, US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. If someone has been scrolling for a certain amount of time, we'll ask them to take a break from Instagram and suggest that they set reminders to take more breaks in the future. Really? The feature would also show them tips from experts to help them reflect and reset. And so this is kind of what it will look like here. So you can see here it says, want a break, turn on or not now. And then there's reminder to take breaks, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes. Time for a break. Take a few deep breaths, write down what you're thinking, listen to your favorite song, do something on your to-do list. Interesting. Let's talk about this for a second. Mr. X said, I don't have Instagram. Well, there you go. One thing I will say that I did notice about Instagram is there's a lot of influencers on Instagram, like the beauty influencers. So again, I feel like you have to follow them though. Like I don't follow them, but I have noticed that there seems to be a lot of, look at this work I got done. Like, look at my boobs. Look at the butt I just got, the new butt I just got. Like those kinds of things, at least for women. I don't know how it is for men. So guys in the chat, feel free to tell me. But in reference to women, it is not uncommon to see these beauty influencers. So you'll see women that are, I guess, pretty much what you would say perfect in reference to like body image and things like that. And Kylie Jenner is really popular on Instagram. And I think what is happening, at least for the women, I can't speak for the guys, is that when you see these images over and over for so long, for so many hours, you can start to feel like that is how you should look as well. But now I'll be honest with you, this didn't start with Instagram. When I was growing up, people used to read magazines. I don't know if people still do that. I don't know if magazines are big anymore, but there were these magazines, these beauty magazines called like Cosmopolitan. There was 17 magazine. I remember that one. There was also one called YM. There was Teen magazine. There was Teen Vogue. Like all these magazines that were geared towards young women, right? And back then, I think the biggest issue was that it was more common to see supermodels on the cover of those magazines. That changed over time. And when it started to move towards actresses and musicians, I think they really thought that things would improve in reference to how people feel about like their self-image, but not really, because what was happening is that some of those actresses, they were also about as skinny as the supermodels, right? And they were getting plastic surgery. And a lot of times teenage girls didn't realize that those photos are Photoshopped. So I do photography, so I can Photoshop the hell out of a picture. I'm just letting you know. And not realizing that there's airbrushing, there's so many tricks that you can use in Lightroom and Adobe Photoshop to make people look different than how they actually look. Well, teenage girls didn't really realize that. So they would just see those pictures and think, oh my gosh, like I should look like that. Like that's how I should look. There's an actress who's my age and she looks this way and I look that way. And I always say you shouldn't have idols and you shouldn't idolize people and feel like you need to look the way a celebrity looks or the way these beauty influencers look. Because I've said this time and time again, you have to love yourself for who you are. And you also have to realize that some of those people that you see in those pictures on Instagram and you saw on the cover of those magazines don't like how they look. And yet all these girls are trying to look like them. They're not always happy with the way that they look, right? So for me, I think if you have these figures like the Kardashians, who, let's be real, they've had a lot of plastic surgery. It just is what it is. Whatever is their body, their life, they can do what they want with their own body. But when you have people like the Kardashians and when you have people like, what's her face? Kylie Jenner, like Kylie's like really popular with a lot of like younger girls. They see this image of Kylie Jenner, how she used to look like when the show first started. And then she changed herself. She got bigger lips. She got more curves. She looks like a different person. Let's just be real. They feel like that's kind of like Kylie Jenner saying she didn't feel like she was good enough the way that she was. So she changed herself to make herself look the way she wanted herself to look. And you do have a lot of younger girls who they see these images on Instagram and they feel like they should look like that too. Their lips should look like Kylie Jenner's. Why do you guys think the girl had like the number one, what was it, lip balm, lip gloss? She was selling out everywhere. It got to the point where like you couldn't even order it because they were out of stock. Because so many of these girls, like they wanted to look like her. And what I always say to people again is that you have to appreciate yourself and like yourself for who you are. I personally can honestly tell you, I don't want to look like anybody else. Now, I didn't always feel that way. I was a teenager once too, but I don't want to look like anybody else. I like the way that I look. Are there things about me that are imperfect? Absolutely, but that's what makes me me. I'm fine with that. Now, in reference to Instagram and the images that are on there, I mean, should teenagers take breaks from social media? Yeah, maybe, I guess. I do see like, I have noticed like they're on their phones like a lot, instead of interacting with each other. Yeah, I mean, I think it's healthy to take breaks from social media. I think it's healthy to take breaks from television, to be honest with you. But is it the CEO's fault? Should he have to go to the Senate? Like, I just feel like, why does he have to explain himself on the Senate floor? Like, why does he have to explain to these politicians? Like, why does he have to explain that? So again, I feel like this is kind of where like the parenting comes in, where parents can talk to their teenagers and explain to them like, you look great the way that you are. Yes, maybe you should take breaks from social media. Like I take breaks from, I told you I'm really not that great on Instagram, to be honest with you. I don't think I really got the appeal the way that some other people did, but I take breaks from Facebook, or I'll take break. A lot of times when I post things, it's just like me posting like my video, advertising like my video. That's it. Most of the time. But I am on Twitter, but sometimes I have to take a break from Twitter too. So I think that that's healthy. But when you are looking at those images all day long for hours all day, can that affect your mental health? Absolutely. Especially if you already have a low self-esteem. Absolutely. But that's just kind of how I look at it. Do I think that he should be penalized for creating this app and not having these timeouts on the app? No, he's not their parent. He's just someone who created an app. It's really the parent's job to monitor what their kids do. But that's just my take on that. I also don't have kids. So if you do have kids in the chat, tell me your take on that. I'm gonna go to some of the comments in the chat. Brandy said, that's the generation. Every generation has their thing. When we were teens, they went after role-playing games and video games. Yo, they really went after Mortal Kombat. Like, I don't know how old everyone is in the chat, but they really went after Mortal Kombat hard. And it's funny because you look back at it now and I'm like, really? Like Mortal Kombat? Because Mortal Kombat is tame. Like the first Mortal Kombat is tame compared to what some video games look like now. But they went after Mortal Kombat. The press went after it. I think Congress even went after Mortal Kombat. They wanted the video games like removed. And that's why you have those ratings for the video games like mature and rated mature. But yeah, they didn't really like Scorpion like pulling out his rope and saying, "Get over here." Flawless victory. They didn't like that too much. They didn't really like some guy's spine being pulled out of his body. Stuff like that. Laura says little girls are often told from the get-go that they do not fit what is beautiful. That is very sad to me, but I do see more girls learning at younger ages that they are beautiful just the way that they are. Well said, Laura. Yeah, I will say this. I think this starts with females when we are little girls, like Laura said. From the time that I was a little girl, when I would play with my male cousins, one of the things I noticed is like the toys that I was given, it was almost as if they were gender toys. I was given Barbie dolls. I was given a baby doll. I was taught from a very young age to be nurturing. I was taught how to change a diaper on a baby doll. I had a baby doll that actually you could like, she drank like, it was Baby Alive or something like that. She could actually eat the food and drink the bottle and she actually peed in her diaper. Really interesting now to think about it. But from a very young age, we were kind of taught to be motherly, to be nurturers. Meanwhile, my male cousins, they had like G.I. Joe. They had like those little cars. What are those cars called? You pull them back, they snap back and they race across the floor. I used to step on them sometimes by accident. They had those, they had the cars and all that kind of stuff. And it was like more of masculine toys, right? They were given toys that made them more of like a protector role, masculine role. And from the start, we were given toys as girls to go into these motherly roles, to be nurturers, to be caretakers. Looking back on it at a very young age. And Barbie, God knows Barbie never looked like an actual woman. No woman looks like that. And I think I read this somewhere that like, if you took Barbie's dimensions, it would not be, there's no way a woman could be shaped like that today. But Barbie was always skinny. There was never like a middleweight Barbie. Middleweight as if I'm talking about boxing. There was never like, I don't know. Barbie was just always skinny. And even if you had the Ken doll, like Ken always had a six pack. Like, where's the Ken with like a beer belly? Like those things just did not happen. And so from a very young age, we were given like this superficial impression and these expectations that we were supposed to uphold. And that's unfortunate. They're better with toys now for kids. I think I noticed I saw an advertisement for engineering toys for girls and for boys, gender neutral toys. So I'm glad that they have improved with that. But when I was growing up, it was very like gender specific, except for Legos, maybe. Yeah, except for like Legos. But yeah, it's just like it's interesting how they put us into these roles without me realizing it at that time as a kid. Thanks so much, Roger Meadows, for the super chat. Hey, Sabs, told you beforehand, hands off Kim. I love her plastic. Thanks so much for the super chat, Roger. Oh my gosh. Leroy said so many women try to look like Barbie with surgery, though. It's scary. Yeah, I've seen that before where women will get plastic surgery so they can look like a Barbie doll. It's I don't know, it's really weird. Really weird. Oh my gosh. I'm almost coming up on my time. I want to end with good news. I could do a whole separate stream about the gender roles and some of the things that I look back on when I was growing up. As an adult, like looking back on it, I'm like, wow, they really did a number on us, huh? So I have some good news for you. I want to end on this. Every now and then, there is someone out there who goes above and beyond. There's a woman in Pittsburgh who did just that. Now I'm going to show you this, the top line, and then I'm going to get to the video. Pittsburgh Woman's Food Rescue app diverts 20 million pounds of surplus into 17 million meals for those in need. Here's the video. Check it out. Again, I like to highlight these things, so here we go.
My name is Leia Lizarrando. I'm the co-founder and CEO of 412 Food Rescue. What we do is we take surplus food from sources such as grocery stores, schools, hospitals, and make sure that it's redirected to charities that serve people who are food insecure. What's really driving this movement is a network of volunteers mobilized by technology.
Open the app, pick your rescue. You go, you pick it up. Thank you. And it gives you directions to your drop off.
It's simple, it's immediate. That's the gem of this.
I don't buy into this notion that people will they'll only do a good job if they're compensated for it. Most of the time, people don't help because they don't know how to help.
Technology is just a tool, a way for us to realize our own propensity to do something for each other.
We need to cross boundaries and see the needs that are around us in every community.
One day I was doing a delivery for handicapped or disadvantaged people. And I walk in with all this food and there's a crowd of people. They're happy to see me. And I noticed this old man standing off to the side, just kind of watching things. And he motioned me over. He says, "Young man, I'm 98 years old. And you being here today and you doing what you're doing helps keep me alive. And I just want you to know that."
Currently, we're in 5 other cities. Our goal is to be in 100 cities by 2030. And I think we can solve 3 of our biggest problems: food waste, food insecurity, and mitigate climate change. We know that people want to find their purpose. Maybe you don't need this huge change in your life. Can we make doing good a part of our daily life? And what are the ways we can create technology to make that happen? I think we will look back in history and say it was that simple. If we give people the opportunity to help, they will.
Oh, Sabby likes. It's so heartwarming. It's a heartfelt moment. I just love it. I like to end with some good news sometimes, you guys. So that just goes to show you some of these things that we talk about when we think about solutions. Some of these things can be done. Now, I found out about that. There is a site called Good News. And let me make sure I give you that link to you guys. There's a site called Good News. Sometimes people get tired of hearing bad news. If you find yourself in that position, go to Good News. And you'll just see lists of like good things that people are doing that you're not hearing about. You're not going to hear about it on CNN. You're not going to hear about it on MSNBC. They don't want you to hear that. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the chat. Good news, guys. Check it out. Check it out. Oh, I'm trying to show. Oh, okay. Thanks so much for the super chat, Roger Meadows. About U.S. wants to let the homeowner fund public education K through 12. Like I said, we take care of it in the states. Ballot initiatives to shift tax burden from homeowners to state. Thanks so much for the super chat, Roger Meadows. And thanks for the super chat. Mortal Kombat today makes first 3 look tame. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you go back and you play the original Mortal Kombat today, it looks lame compared to the video games that are out now. But they wanted to kill it. Congress wanted to take that game away. No, get over here. I love that game if you couldn't tell. Flawless victory. All right. I need to head out. It is 8:11. I do have to take that call at 8:15. Guys, I hope you learned something here tonight. I hope you share that good news with people. Let people know about that. We talk about mutual aid a lot over at Revolutionary Blackout Network. You see what Rome's doing. You see what Afini's doing. And this woman, her goal is to get this into 100 cities. So let's try to help her out. Let's share that information. I'll put it again one more time in the chat. And I'm about to head out, you guys. Fatality. Have a good night. Keep up the fight.